Hi, today we're going to be having a look at this Sony XPLOD car amplifier. I purchased this on eBay for spares or repair, actually some time ago now, and I paid £24 for it. In the listing it just said it just wasn't working, so let's see if we can figure out what's wrong with it and hopefully repair it. So what connections have we got on here? We have 12 volt and remote input, ground, speaker outputs, and we have some audio inputs here. So I think what I'll do, I'll just bridge a wire between the 12 volt and the remote. We'll just clip the bench power supply onto here, and we'll just see if it powers up first, because it might have no power or something else. I'm not sure what's wrong with it, so I'll just go and grab a little bit of wire. Right, so I've just put a link across those two. I'll just switch the bench power supply on, and I've got it set to 12 volt at 5 amp. Well, that should be enough just to test it. So we'll clip the ground on here. And we'll put the 12 volt on there. Right, let's just switch the output on. Right, well, all the lights came on briefly and then they all went off. Well, they're all on just very faint, and it's drawing the full 5 amps. And it's dropping the voltage down to 8.3 volts. So there's some kind of short going on here, I think. So it's not worth hooking up the speakers up or anything, so let's see how it comes apart. So it looks like we've got 4 screws on the bottom. Right, so how does this come apart? I mean, there's a few screws here. Although we do have ones with arrows on, and that's usually the ones that you need to take out. So we've got an arrow there, a couple there, one there. Right, let's take those screws out. Actually, there's not a screw in that one, I don't think. Right, I think there's another one here. So do we need to take these screws out as well? There's one on the back, let's take that one out. Now, hold on, something's just moved. There we go. Right. Let's get these screws and things to one side. Just get this bit out of the way. And let's just zoom down a bit on this board. Let's have a look over the other side. So it looks like we've got a big inductor here. So I think that must be a DC to DC converter. Which probably steps the voltage up, I would think. Let's just see if we can see any blown components or anything. I can't quite see the number on that one. I'll just try zooming in a little bit more. Well, I can't see anything obvious up to now. So we've got a little optical isolator just down there. And looks like we've got an op amp just here. So I think the next thing that we'll have to do then is start checking some transistors and things. So I might start at the power supply end. We'll just see if these MOSFETs are okay. They look like output diodes, so we can check those. And I think we'll work our way over to the amplifier part over here. Right, I shall go grab the test meter. Let's just go on to diode check. Right, well those MOSFETs don't appear shorted, so that's a good sign. I think there's some charge in this capacitor, it's throwing the readings out. But it's not showing short. Yeah, there's some charge in those capacitors there, that's why we're getting weird readings. So those diodes seem okay. Right, let's check these transistors here. So right. So it looks like this transistor here is shorted on all three legs. Let's try this one. That one might well be okay, but this one's definitely shorted. Right, so it looks like the fault's actually on the amplifier section. And that was actually the transistor that I couldn't quite read the number on. So it's probably a D2SD718. But you can't quite make the number out on it. Right, let's see if we can get that out and then we'll check some other transistors and things. I'm just going to check that was the one that was shorted. Actually, it's not. It was that one. I'm just going to double check that with the meter there. Yeah, it was actually that transistor that was shorted. So the first one here, which is also a D718. Right, I'm going to pop that screw back in and then undo the other one. And I'm getting gummed up with heat compound. let's just get the solder sucker out. We'll just desolder that. Right, it's well stuck onto the heatsink. Nice. Just try it out of circuit. Right, so that's definitely shorted. So I need at least one of those. Let's see what's further down the line. So let's try and zoom down a little bit on this. So it looks like we have another transistor. Let's try and find the base of this one. Right, so it goes to there. So if we follow this trace here, you can see it goes through a resistor. And it goes to these two transistors here. So let's see if those are okay. I don't appear to be getting any shorts on that one. I don't appear to be getting any shorts on that one. So it might just be this one transistor. Now, I don't know whether to see if I can get two transistors and replace the pair of them, just in case this one's been slightly damaged or not. This looks like a fairly straightforward repair, hopefully. It's just that. I'm just trying to trace back a little bit further just to see if I can see anything else. So yeah, so it goes to the base of this transistor here and goes to the base of that transistor there. So this is the left channel output by the look of things. I thought it was 0 ohm there, but it's not. Right, I'll see if I can get one of those transistors and then we'll see what happens when that arrives. So the new parts have arrived. However, I had to order them from China because it seems that this transistor is now obsolete. So the parts that I've ordered could well be fakes. So this is the blown part. So if I just go between there and there, and between there and there, you can see it's short. And the same if I go that way. And if I go between here and here, you can see we've got a reading. Between here and here, we've got a reading. And we shouldn't get a reading between the emitter and collector. And we don't. So that actually measures okay. But what I've done is I've pulled one of the original transistors out the other side, the same one, just so we'll compare it with the component tester with this one, because I'm just curious whether we get similar readings or not. And we don't. We're getting about 0.63 between there and there. And on the original one out the other side that was working, we're getting about 0.59, 0.6. So I mean, there's a very slight difference there, but no transistors are made the same in any way, no two. So I think what we might do is plug them into the component tester and we'll just see if there's any differences. Now somebody was asking, did I have a component tester? Well, I've actually got a couple of them, but I prefer to use a meter. And you can't use a component tester when stuff's in circuit anyway, so I guess I'm just old school. So this should be the working one. So I'll just zoom down a little bit so we can get a bit closer look. And we'll see what this says. So 66, 6.21 and 664. And then we'll try this one, which is the replacement. And we have got slightly more gain, I think, on this one. So I'm not sure whether to, because these transistors I've actually got the complementary transistor as well. So I might change both of these so they're a little bit more matched. But we are getting a different reading to the original one. So like I say, these may well be fakes if these are no longer produced, but we'll see if it works. So I'm going to pop the original transistor back in here, the working one. I can just screw back in, that is. And we'll pop this one in here, and then I'll change that one with one of the other ones that I've got here. I might as well change the pair of them. I'll just see if I can find the screw for here. And it might be a bit tricky to get this one in, especially with that inductor being there. Right, I'm going to solder that one up and then desolder that one. Might as well solder this one back up while I'm on. Actually, have I put those in the right way? It's been a while since I've looked at this, so I think I've actually put them in the wrong way, because I'm sure that was the one that was blown. That's a bit of a nightmare. I'll have to swap those around. So I've just had a look back at the video, and I was indeed putting the transistor in there instead of the original one back in there. So this is the one that I had failed originally, so that's the one I put the new transistor in. So I'll just solder these up, and then we'll swap this one with a new transistor as well. And then we'll see if it works. While I'm here, I'm just going to snip off these legs. I'll get this transistor out. Let's say this one actually measures okay, but because the other one's being shorted, it may well have been weakened. Right, need a spudging tool now. Let's just try this plastic one. There we go. And that's the replacement, which is a 2SB688. Right, let's solder those up. I'll just snip the excess legs off on this one. I'm happy with that. Just want to zoom down a second, because we do have a small resistor there. So I just want to measure that. So I'm just going to go on to continuity. And we'll just see if we get a reading across that resistor. Yes, I'm getting about 5 ohms on the meter there, so I just wanted to check that that wasn't blown. That drives the base of this transistor, so at least they've got some protection in that in this, which is good. Right. Looks like my wires came off. Just going to get it hooked up to the bench power supply again. So stick the ground on there. Right, I'm just going to switch it on now and we'll see what the current draw is. And it's now drawn about half an amp rather than the full 5 amps. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit. We do have all of the lights lit up now. So I don't know whether those are supposed to be on. Because of the overcurrent and that and stuff, it looks a bit weird. So I might get the thermal camera on this just to see if anything's getting hot. Just get the thermal camera out. Right, so this is the Coeitz KTIW02. And it's not a bad little thermal camera. And if you want one of these, they're actually running a promotion at the moment where, over the Christmas period anyway, and they're giving a whopping 35% off. So if you want one, now's the chance to grab one. Well, I've got quite a few things getting hot here. I mean, not majorly hot. I mean, those transistors are showing about 28 degrees. They're the originals. And the new ones I've put in are showing very similar readings. So this might well be okay. Let's just see if we get any voltage on the output terminals, because we shouldn't have. So that's good. So I'm just wondering, these lights here that are green, I wonder if they're possibly dual colour LEDs and they go red if there's a problem, which might make sense. I'm going to get a couple of speakers and we'll connect a couple of speakers up to this. And I think it does have a test tone button here, and we'll just see if we get a tone out of it. So I'm just going to grab a couple of little speakers. Right, I've got a couple of little speakers set up here. If I press the tone button, I don't know if you can see the bits of dust vibrating on this one here. So if I zoom down a little bit, you can see the dust vibrating on that one. And it's vibrating on that one. So if I just disconnect this speaker, for instance, just press it, you can hear that one working. I'll just reconnect this one back up and disconnect that one, and now we can hear that speaker working. So it looks like both channels are working. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put it back together. I'll just do that off camera, and then we'll try some music or something through it. So next time you'll see this, it'll be all back together. So I thought I'd hook the scope up, and I'm using my old phone here as a signal generator, just into the audio in here. So if we go on to the output pins here, you can see we've got a nice sine wave there. If I go on to the other output, again we can see we've got a nice sine wave. So that looks quite cool. If I adjust the frequency here, you'll be able to see the oscilloscope change. And if I go into here, you can see the same. And if I hook a speaker up, I just go into here. And if I go into here, so I would say this is all working. So excellent. So I really enjoyed that one. It was a nice, straightforward and stress-free repair, which sometimes makes a change. Like I say, I think I really enjoyed that one. So right then, if you enjoy it too, please give it the big thumbs up. If you want to see more like it, please subscribe. Any comments or questions, please leave it in the comment section below. And as always, have a great day. Thanks for watching.